Clash Royale.
All right, guys, 1-1 here. We are all tied up right now, and that's what SKT is looking to do by the end of the night, is tie the score so that we go to that third and final match tomorrow night. They have taken the momentum back here with Classic. We're going to have the reveal here in just a moment of the KT Rolster player. Unlikely to be a Terran on this map in this matchup, but you mentioned to me in the break, you know, TY was sent out on this map specifically in the entry format, hit Classic, so it is definitely possible. We've seen a lot of Terran cheeses coming out on this map too. Definitely not a good map for the Cyclone build, but that's more of an SKT flavor. We will see that player here in just a moment. It's a much harder thing to predict, though, than the SKT player because they have so many more players here.
Well, it's almost definitely going to be Zest, Stats, and TY left over. Maybe you send out... I wouldn't want to send out Zest here. We saw TY already, and I think you want to save Stats for later. I think it might have to be TY here. Even though it's uncomfortable, I hope he's got a new build to snipe a Protoss on this map.
Let's see. It's Zest!
Okay.
Coming out early, but he has not been the star player for this team right now. Dropping out of the GSL, a big upset there. Losing to Tasia in the losers match and dropping out of the GSL, and then Tasia retired afterwards. He had nothing to gain, but he still knocked Zest out of the GSL. Zest has not had the best record in Grand Postseason either, but he's still a great Protoss player, and he is going to play the longer PvP here on Dust Towers.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is Zest's map. He just usually likes to play this against a Terran, and his PvP hasn't been the most impressive matchup of his. Obviously, PvT is Classic. He looks very confident. You know, he's gotten this one kill already today. Once he got out of his GSL group, he was like, I can't wait to play in Pro League. I'm really confident there. I think we can do well. I think I'm going to take a lot of games here. And you could even see with that little ceremony he did after winning that first game against Trust that he's really feeling good about this.
Well, guys, let's jump into this third game here. Let's find out who is going to take the lead and take that momentum in this grand postseason match between KT Rolster and SKT. Let's jump into Dust Towers. In the upper right for KT Rolster, it is Zest, once known as the Kingslayer, for all killing his opponent's team.
Down in the bottom left in the orange, already has one kill. It is Classic.
I want to give you guys some stats, actually, because in regular season format, KT is 4-7. SKT has the far better record. But in postseason, which we're in now, KT Rolster is 5-0. And they are 4-0 in the all-kill format. They have never lost in Starcraft 2 to KT Rolster, or excuse me, to SKT in this format. Not even one time. The entry format, another, tells a different story. They're 5-7, including yesterday's match. That is sick.
What is that? I don't even know. He like went to the Xerox place. He like, you know, Xerox. He painted out that picture there. That was really cool and detailed.
I think he said he was making a pun on Zest's name. It said Jupago instead of AlphaGo, like saying that he's like a robot. Wrong player, that's innovation, but he's already lost.
Wrong team too. Nice try though.
Good try. But I just want to point out that if KT loses today, it would actually be kind of a huge historical moment for SKT to defeat this team that has always shut them down in these important moments. Like, postseason includes the finals where KT defeated SKT in 2014. You, myself, and Moonglade cast that on the beach, basically, and that was a sick finals, one of my favorite casts of my entire life. And
oh yeah, that was awesome. You know, we might get the reveal on what the location is. If KT wins today, we're going to reveal where it's going to be for the Pro League Grand Finals, so stay tuned for that, guys.
Yeah, big news on that, so should be exciting. And it's going to be a very important Pro League Finals. Just, you know, historically, we're getting now into our really, you know, I think it's the 5th Pro League that's had Starcraft 2 in it, including the Hybrid League that happened that CJ ended up winning, I believe, or STX, just a long time ago. That tournament didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, it's been a long time for StarCraft 2 and Pro League, and it's a tournament that's been around since Brood War, so long ago, a former OGN tournament. In this game here, we have the tight wall for Classic, and he is going to kill this probe, or at least attempt to. Notice the way he came around so that he could secure the kill instead of attacking and then chasing.
Yeah.
He cut the probe's retreat path off, so that was pretty cool.
Very, very cool, and I was getting worried that he was forgetting and he was just sending his mothership core across the map, but he's a very smart player. Notice that Zest went for the Nexus right after the gateway, and Classic scouted it, and he rushed out his own Nexus, so Classic kind of was... He's like, okay, you're going to get your Nexus first, but I'm okay to play at that slight disadvantage. There's no way I can kill you right here. So Zest does get a very, very small advantage here in this game.
Classic also, you know, with this build he's chosen, is a little bit more open, you know, a little bit more vulnerable to these scouts. And actually, you know, this mothership core is coming in. It's actually going to drop this third next zone. I got the names mixed up again, by the way. I'm so sorry. This time Classic is on the bottom, not the top. So this probe, or excuse me, this mothership core is going to come around the probe line, but also will scout the Twilight Council, which is pretty important. It needs to recall. Close call there. 2 more shots away from death with the bonus damage that those stalkers get to the armored mothership core. But so what I was trying to say is that Classic has denied more information because he has that tight wall, but he's made his Nexus out in the open. No scouts have come out though, so this is pretty cool for him. But if Zest gets wind of this, he could definitely punish it with the blink that he has so early. So right now I'd say Classic really needs to focus on cranking out those Immortals to get ready for the defense. He's going to Observer. He's played so greedy right now, and if this gets scouted, he's in big trouble. But if it doesn't, he gets away with it, and he gets a huge win as a result.
Yeah, I mean, look at Zest in his main. He's keeping his Stalkers in the mineral line. He's got a pylon on his back door with the mothership core there. It's almost like, it's almost like he's expecting an Oracle to fly in at some point, but that is very, very far away from the tech that Classic is going for, and now Classic is going to start pumping out those Immortals. He's going to be very, very ready for any kind of blink. The blink is going to be good in defense, but he's not really going to be able to use it on the attack, and he's committing to so many Stalkers as well.
Notice what's happening with Zest here. You see he's patrolling his mothership. He's making extra pylons. He's like, is this a drop? Is this an Oracle? He has no idea because his vision has been denied so hardcore. And this is why hiding your tech, having that tight wall, all these things are so important. Classic gets a massive advantage just because Zest doesn't know what's happening. You can't punish something if you don't know it's happening. So this third Nexus is a Nexus behind in build time. The third base is already making additional probes, triple probe production right now for Classic. Then he has much better saturation. He's already up 8 workers. And, I mean, this is a real advantage it can't be overstated how ahead he is.
And he's not only ahead in the economy, but he's ahead in his army composition as well. He has less Stalkers, 1 more Immortal already. He's going to have that second one faster than Zest does. Zest is going double Forge here. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's really only going to make a difference if you get up to like 2-2 and your opponent has like +1, but generally we've seen it in the mid-game of PvP that upgrades don't really matter all that much. Like if Classic just pumps out a ton of units more than Zest, and he gets Archons and like 3 Immortals and attacks, and Zest just has like a bunch of Stalkers and 1 Immortal.
And 1/1, yeah, which isn't that significant.
Even then, it's just not really it's not gonna go well for Zest unless he has a bunch of overcharges to keep him safe.
Really important that Scout saw the double forges. Also, that it saw them begin to spin, so he knows exactly that those upgrades were just started. And actually kind of maybe even a mistake on Zest's part to actually show that, although I suppose if you didn't show it, you could just click on the units. Wow, Classic has shown this before. He's going to go Storm here. Did not expect this. I thought he was just going to go into faster Archons, but he wants to get pro damage done. Now this kind of shows in both what these players are doing. They've taken a different approach to knowing that this is probably going to go 4th base. This is going to go late game. the double forge, the response forge by Classic, and then also the Storm makes it's one of those techs where you can get some probe damage done, but you have to commit to an attack. He knows this game's probably going late, and he's going to even make a 4th base too, so he's even going to show us that 4th base is going to be the first to make it. And this is going to be a longer game, so the advantages that Classic had earlier on will somewhat be negated by the fact that eventually both these players are going to be maxed out, and compositions are going to be more important than economies when that fight happens.
Yeah, and the last time we saw the Storm, it was on Frost. It was cross positions, and he hit it for a Storm drop. But he was able to hold because the rush distance was so long. And on a map like this, it is also very, very long, and he waited a longer time to go into it. It's not like he rushed out the Storm. By the way, he's going to do the same thing that Myungshik did, where he hides the Templar in the Warp Prism. Myungshik, he hid 2 Disruptors in the Warp Prism, so Zest just never has any idea that this tech is coming and that he has to respond to this.
Really wanted that pylon, I wasn't going to get it. Yeah, you're exactly right. Storm is something that we saw in Pro vs. Protoss in Brood War, and we are still seeing in Pro vs. Protoss Brood War because that game is still very much alive. Definitely check out the ASL and watch that, as that tournament is awesome. And there's a lot of rumors about that Brood War HT. We'll see what happens. The Stalker's here looking at this pylon. He really wants it because it was de-shielded earlier, but he can't get it. He's also trying to get hints about this army. He might even try to grab this Archon. Very risky. He does decide to blink away. He's not turning around. He's going forward with this army. This is a bit scary. He does have a 20 army supply advantage here.
There are 3 pylons at the 4th base of Zest, and he's got a similar army composition. He just has nothing to deal with all of the Adepts. There's 18 Adepts, and there's only 2 Archons here.
And there are Storms. There are 6 High Templar Storms. There's probably 10 Storms in this army now, because the first 4 have enough for 2. That's actually how Classic won that last game with this comp on Frost. Is, you know, he got some damage done, but then he also got a lot of damage on with the Storms. He ends up back off here. He sees the Templar now, and he's actually just going to let this base go, and I do not blame him for that decision. Storm's coming down here mostly on the Immortals here, but he is totally zoned out. He cannot fight under the Storms.
What is he going to do? I mean, not even just the Storms, but all the Adepts, too. His army composition is not equipped to deal with the army of Classic. And I think Classic is just going to roll over this army. Who cares about that 4th base? You can take that down and the 3rd base and Zest's army at this point.
Yeah, it looks that way, man. This is not going to be a good situation here for Zest. He's trying to set up this concave. I mean, these units can attack once the Storms are gone, but it doesn't matter. They've already done enough damage. He has 4 times the army supply, and this game will end. Impressive PvP by Classic. GG. And SKT will take the lead here. And I want to see another ceremony. Get out of that booth and show me. He's going to do the high fives.
What's it going to be? Is it going to be the number 2?
Oh!
It's going to be 2 hands.
2 hands, man. Next time, if he gets a 3rd kill, he will morph a 3rd arm and show us 3 hands.
I wouldn't be surprised from Classic if that happens.
I really have to give it to him for the play in this game. He was insanely greedy, but he also denied vision. I mean, the guy got a whole base ahead without any pressure against him. He made Zest look pitiful. Like, the game that Zest was playing was the game that everyone who's played like Pro vs. Pro at like somewhere between like a Masters and Diamond, or I mean a Diamond and Masters level has played, where you scout the early game, you take a 3rd base, you build an army, you don't really know what's going on, then eventually you fight later. You know, it's one of those games where everyone's had that PvP where like, oh god, he made the right thing, or I didn't scout enough, I didn't set enough hallucinations, I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
That's the game Zest played. He did not get enough consistent information. He was behind. Man, Classic hit the High Templar tech and the Prism like you were talking about. Then when it was time to show, he was like, back off, I have 10 Storms.
Even if he didn't have Storm, you know, you were talking about it, like the composition is still better. When you have that many Adepts against all of those Chargelets, it's like, Resonating Glaze, first of all, is cheaper. You know, you can get that out. You can get, you know, the Adepts are more expensive, of course, but the 12 Chargelets are going to do absolutely nothing. The Archons are going to be totally protected in the bag, just sniping Zealot after Zealot. That big core of Adepts could probably 2-shot 12 Zealots when you have that many Adepts. I think he was up to 20 by the time they fought. He didn't even really need the Storms, you know? He blanketed the entire army, but as you said, he was just like a whole base ahead. It was crazy. Yeah. He just totally outplayed Zest, and Zest's woes continue. I'm really worried for this guy because every single time he comes out, you know, those were games that he used to be able to win. He used to be able to take close wins against guys like Classic, against guys like Dark, you know, but he's really struggling nowadays.
2 players left now, and I think it's going to have to be TY coming out on King Sejong Station. I'm really feeling it.
Oh, well, we got New Gettysburg first. So
okay, so I'm looking at the wrong map list.
He could do...
Are you sure? Yeah, you have the right map list. I'm looking at the map
we didn't
list.
start on New Gettysburg, so...
Yeah, I need to get the
Game
right
4,
map list.
New Gettysburg, and...
I don't know why I don't have this. Like,
have like a totally different map list from...
I have like yesterday's stats or something on my maps. They have all the other relevant stats, but anyway, can you put that paper over here so like
let's put
I don't say wrong
here.
things to the fans out there?
Here we go.
Okay, so I was right about the Game 2 and Game 3. They were the same on both of these sheets, but Game 4 on Gettysburg. So do you want to send TY here now? I don't think we're going to see a Zerg from KT at all.
King Sejong Frost and Frozen Temple are all great Terran maps. So if you wanted to put it all on the line for TY to, you know, get 3 in a row, maybe that's how you do it. You send out stats here. He's going to be good on really any map. He's becoming the Protoss ace now for this team, especially after today. I'm like, Stats is more consistent.
Yeah,
nowadays
Zest is
he's more
really
consistent than Zest every single time we see him nowadays.